My section explores the ways in which BIPOC females in America, like myself, have been conditioned to absorb and ignore microaggressions and explicit aggressions, to stay silent, to play to our perceived racial expectations, and to suppress any rage, even if it feels like we may implode. There's a real sadness that exists in the same space that hope and connectivity and community do. I think the work embodies a sort of melancholy and exhaustion that many of us feel weaving in and out of systems of hierarchy and oppression. And I think the work reflects a collective disillusionment of where we are now as a society in 2021 in our treatment of BIPOC communities, in particular the Asian American community throughout this pandemic. The top of the waterfall represents the Issei, or first-generation Japanese immigrants that came to America and faced so many challenges, hardships, and racism, which is represented by the uneven rocks that the water is rushing over. Then the stream forks into two, representing the Nisei second generation, who were divided on the topic of assimilation into American culture. Then at the bottom of the garden, you see the two streams reconnect to create a pool, representing the third generation Sansei and the hope for united communities and a peaceful coexistence. But in reality, where we are now as a society is not peaceful. And what struck me the most is that if you look at the water in the garden, it's murky and discolored. And that pollution, for me, functions on a thematic level as well. Water as this symbol of cleansing and purity and rebirth isn't working. So what do we do? What can we do? Sometimes these issues feel so overwhelming that we become paralyzed or numb, and all we can do is stand still. The dancers' actual lived experiences of marginalization and objectification and silenced rage were integral in forming the work. These experiences were fused into their improvisation, which then formed movement motifs, as well as their spoken phrases in their mother tongue that were used throughout the work. Their personal stories really guided the emotional and energetic trajectory of the film, and at some point I became less of a director-choreographer and more of a witness to their brutally honest vulnerability and self-discovery.